Hey there guys, Aldershot here, and today we're going to do an early look video into Echoes of Eridu, developed by Battle Staple Games. And if you're unfamiliar with our early look series, it's when we showcase games that are still in development or still being greenlit on Steam. Echoes of Eridu is very much still in development, and it still needs to be greenlit on Steam as well. Now these guys have a Kickstarter campaign going on right now, and there's only a few days left as of this recording. So if you do like what you're about to see, do check out their Kickstarter page as well as their Steam Greenlight page as well. I'll have the appropriate links posted below in the description, so do check that out. So what is Echoes of Eridu? Well, it is a roguelike or rogue-lite side-scrolling sprite shooter that's very much inspired from the likes of Megaman X. Alright, now it does feature local multiplayer as well as solo play as well. Currently, there is only local multiplayer. I don't know if they have any plans for online multiplayer. I kind of hope they do, but we shall see about that. Let's take a look at the solo play for the time being. Now, when you do start the game, in this current build anyways, you do have two characters to choose from. Now I checked out their Kickstarter page. From the looks of it, if they get enough funding, they will be adding more characters to the roster, but we shall see about that. For the time being, there is two. Nina is more of a long shot kind of bullet type of character, where Ace is more like a sword swing, close range kind of character as well. So basically Nina is kind of like Mega Man, and Ace is sort of like Zero, to put it in Mega Man terms. So let's take a look at Ace first. We'll talk about Nina down the road. Now when you do first start the game with your chosen character, you can actually select specific upgrades that you have collected in the past. So it does have some carry through as far as upgrades and progress in this sort of roguelite or roguelike game. Reminiscent of something like Rogue Legacy, let's say, but not quite as heavy as Rogue Legacy. Alright, we'll talk a little bit more about that down the road. So we are going to just use default loadouts that the game gives us in the beginning, just to kind of showcase the game as is intended, at least when you first get into it anyways. We'll check out some of the upgrades later on down the road. So again, this is kind of like a Zero character. You have this close range, wide sweeping sort of melee sword attack. You do have dash, as you would expect from a Mega Man inspired game, as well as if you dash into a jump, you can jump a little bit further. You do have wall jump as well. Alright, now this guy has no real long range capabilities, so that, I guess that would be his downfall, but his attack is very powerful. Short range, but extremely wide, so that's going to help out quite significantly. Alright. Now you do have a power attack as well, just like that, alright? And you only can use it a few times, and you can actually collect different power attacks as well. You can collect more energy to kind of refill your use of your power attack, which is kind of nice, very Mega Man-esque. Alright, and great for handling tougher combat situations like this here. So we're going to just try and make our way here. Now this is being a roguelike, so it does feature procedurally generated dungeons, item placement, as well as enemy encounters as well. So it does share a few common elements of other roguelike games. Obviously there's also permadeath, but as mentioned before, there is some upgrades that can be carried through from playthrough to playthrough. I think you have to collect them in the form of blueprints, so that's kind of interesting. It does incentivize some replay from the player. Whoops, besides trying to do the best they can in the randomly generated maps. I'm kind of failing on this puzzle here. The persistent upgrade system that you collect through blueprints, they will definitely incentivize the player to kind of go through the games and try to collect all those upgrades to help them, start up with a powered up character essentially. Alright, now this game does share a few elements with Risk of Rain from what I've noticed. You can collect different power-ups and upgrades very much like Risk of Rain and other roguelite or roguelike games, and that will help you throughout the playthrough. Most of those upgrades that aren't in Blueprint especially, they are only for one playthrough only, so if you die, again, it's permadeath, and you lose all those upgrades and kind of have to start over. So these things are expected as far as roguelike games are concerned. Now, as far as controls go, this game feels very responsive, and it's extremely fast-paced. You haven't noticed already, which is very suitable considering that this is a Megaman X inspired game, and Megaman X is certainly the fastest of the Megaman series. Definitely one of my favorite 2D shooters. Back when I was a kid, Megaman X2 and Megaman X3, I believe, were some of my favorites of all time. Megaman 2 is probably my favorite Mega Man game of all time, but we're digging pretty far back there. Alright, I do love fighting that Metal Man guy. He was one of my favorite power-ups in the Mega Man series. But I digress, I'm getting a little off topic here, so let's talk about Echoes of Eridu again. So as I mentioned before, it is very Mega Man inspired. Throw in a few roguelike or roguelite elements, and we have Echoes of Eridu. Now the graphics are pretty good as well, I must say. They have a pretty good art direction. You can tell instantly right off the bat that this is very much a Mega Man inspired game. A lot of the character design and level design and all that sort of stuff. You can tell there's a huge hint of Mega Man X all over the place. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with paying homage to your inspiration at all. Alright, we're about to enter a boss fight, so let's check that out. Now at the end of each dungeon there is going to be a random boss. It's not always going to be the same. So it does throw in that element of roguelites into this mix as well. Now the boss fights are handled sorta kinda like Mega Man as well, where you do have to go from, oh my, where you do have to kind of enter into a room, an arena if you will, with the boss and sort of take him on one. So you can definitely see a lot of Mega Man inspiration throughout the game. Now at the end of the boss fight you can actually select a variety of upgrades to collect if you have enough bolts that you collected throughout the game. Now I haven't collected enough to get into the stuff, so I'm going to use it on some health items instead so I don't die on the next round. And we got 4 bolts left. We'll use it on the energy because we could use a refill on our energy as well. So this is kind of reminiscent of the way Risk of Rain has handled their item shops as well. So as I mentioned before, it does remind me a lot of Risk of Rain in certain ways. They've definitely taken a few cues from that game, or maybe it's just a roguelike thing that's pretty common. I'm not really sure. But I played a lot of Risk of Rain, so I'm going to use that as a comparison. Alright. Okay, so this is a little bit harder of an encounter. We'll try and get through this. You know what? Actually, we've kind of taken a look of this character. Let's actually get back to the main menu. And then go back into solo play. We're going to take a look at Nina. Alright, now this game is, again, still very much in development, so there's a lot of, you know, rough edges here and there. Now, I don't like to get overly critical in my early look series, as this isn't a critique series, this is a showcase series, but I do want to offer some feedback and some player advice from what I've noticed. A couple of things about this game as far as feedback goes. I do recommend taking another look at Nina and the other character, as I don't feel like they're very balanced. I feel Nina is a little bit underpowered in comparison to her comrade, I guess you can say, as her bullets don't do as much damage as the sword. Even though it is long range, it's also a little bit harder to hit things with because she only can shoot in one axis, which is straight, of course, just like what you would expect from Mega Man games, so I kind of see why is that. But as far as player choice, I don't really see a reason to pick Nina over the other character, mainly because she feels so underpowered compared to the other character, which I forgot his name, so sorry about that. So I think you should maybe like take another look at some of the balance as far as character selection goes. Nina is definitely a little bit harder, or quite a bit harder to play as than the other tune. Maybe it's done for the sake of easy mode, hard mode, I'm not really sure. It'll be an interesting way of handling it, that's for sure. But if it's not, if it actually is, if they are actually supposed to be balanced towards each other, making player choice more on player choice rather than selecting based on, you know, the meta of the game, as in, you know, that is objectively better, which the other character is objectively better in my opinion, then I think Nina again should have another look at, just for the sake of balance. I would recommend maybe improving the size and power of her pellets, or maybe giving her different axes as well, make her able to shoot on the Y and X, and maybe even the XY axis as well, as in diagonally. I'm not really sure where to go from here, to be honest. Let's see if we can go down. Nope, we're not supposed to go down. I think we have to go up. But anyways, yeah, there's a few balance issues from this very, very early build, so, you know, that could very well change on final release. And something else about some other suggestions I would give as well. So let's go back to the main menu and go back to the other character. Ace, that's his name. Alright, so you know what, we're going to take this opportunity to show off some of the upgrades as well. Let's see what else do we have here. Trade dash for a second jump? No thanks. Make you a little better at dashing? Yes, please. So we'll take that. Let's see what else can we do here. Smaller. Big health. Let's make ourselves a little bit smaller, making us a little bit harder to hit. And we have our double slice attack as well, which is going to be pretty awesome. Alright, so let's do this. So as you can see with our upgrade, we are a little bit smaller, our dash is a little bit better, and now we can slice on both ends. So that's pretty cool. I really like how they handled the upgrade system that do carry on from playthrough to playthrough. But anyways, back to the feedback. So as you notice, as I'm slicing, Ace tend to kind of just slide on the ground. Now I'm sure that, you know, it's mainly because this is still a demo and that this is extremely early in the game's process. I'm sure the animation is still to be worked out, but I do want to point out that this really should be worked out for the final release, as players will probably criticize this. So do keep that in mind, alright? But again, I'm sure this animation bit here is just a placeholder for a more finessed animation set when the game actually does get released. Alright, so there you go guys, that's Echoes of Eridu. Quite an interesting game. I really do like the idea of mashing roguelike elements with Megaman X elements. Alright, so that's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited to see this game in its final release. I do hope the Kickstarter is successful. Again, there is only a few days left on the Kickstarter, so do check it out everybody if you are interested in this game. It feels fantastic, very, very fast paced, one of the faster roguelikes I've played. And the controls are very responsive. I do like the art style as well. The art style is quite fantastic. And these wall ceiling things are really cool too. Anyways, as I was saying, this is Echoes of Eridu. Quite an interesting game. And if you do like what you see, I will have the links to their Kickstarter as well as their Greenlight page. Also to their official website as well. So do check that out. Alright, and if you found this informative, if you enjoy this in any way at all, please send me some love, like, share, fave, and comment. But most importantly, please subscribe, help me grow, and feed me my vegetables. Thanks for watching guys, Aldershot out.